Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, pop on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch our favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
I feel like you're being really festive because this should come out...
This is the Christmas-ish, or Christmassy episode thing.
Yeah, Christmas-y episode, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember what day Christmas is on.
Isn't it Monday?
Probably.
Okay.
So this is like, so you're hearing this on Christmas Eve's Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Is there a term for that? The
Christmas Eve squared.
Oh, nice. 'Twas the eve before Christmas Eve.
And nothing much happened because not a lot happens on this day.
Yeah, that's true. Not a whole lot. I'm gonna make a pie though on the day that you're listening to this. I'm making a pie.
I think I'm going to some parties. I don't know.
You would.
Well, I mean, not like club parties or anything, like family parties. Yeah.
You can be dancing to like a jingle bell, like, you know,
a remix,
house remix,
a dubstep jingle bells.
I'm just picturing right now you in a club dancing to that. What is that guy? Vitas or whatever. And I'm picturing him in a like ugly Christmas sweater dancing around, not moving his neck, doing the like, like, you know what I'm talking about? That guy?
I don't. I have no idea.
Oh, I will send you a video of him later. If you don't know who this is, look up Vitas on YouTube. Vitas. You will thank me. You seriously will. You'll thank me so much.
If you don't thank him, I'm sorry on behalf of him.
No, there'll be nothing but thank you. Like, even if you don't like it, you'll be glad that you know what it is. Nobody really likes it, but it makes people laugh.
So this will be your Christmas gift to the audience.
This is your Christmas gift from us. Yeah.
Oh, no, from you. Unless you like it, then it can be from me also.
Yeah. Joseph's the one that like doesn't get the gift or the card, but he puts his name on it later.
Yeah, it's there. It's small though because I'm unsure.
Exactly. Like he barely writes it in the corner. Like a card went around work the other day and I didn't know what it was for and I wanted to cover all my bases, so I wrote Merry Birthday on it. So I think I'm covered.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, at least I thought it was till I found out it was for a baby shower.
Oh, well, it was
kind of messed that one up.
It's kind of somebody's birthday, little baby's birthday almost.
Oh, yeah, it's the baby's birthday. I didn't mess it up after all.
No, you can twist it any way you want.
I'll try.
So this morning for our Christmas Eve episode, we watched The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Yeah, and this was chosen by nobody.
I chose it because you'd never seen it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You chose it. You're nobody.
I'm not nobody.
You're no one.
I matter.
Climb back into your hole.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before. So, yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, so this is actually a Christmas special, and it came out in 1974. It's based on Phyllis McGinley's 1956 book of the same name and illustrated by Kurt Worth. Produced by Rankin Bass Productions, who are, famous for many of the old stop-motion animated Christmas specials. Rudolph, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Even Frosty.
I haven't seen that one either.
Even Frosty the Snowman, I know they produced. That's animated, so it's kind of different. But yeah, so they've done all kinds of stuff like this. If you were growing up in the 80s, and probably still, I don't know, but you would have seen some of these specials on TV at some point.
You'd think so.
But you didn't. Somehow you avoided it.
Yeah. The year without a Chris watching Santa Claus was every year except this year.
So this was, like I said, this is a Christmas stop motion animated television special on the ABC network. For a short synopsis, when a weary and discouraged Santa Claus considers skipping his Christmas Eve run one year, Mrs. Claus and the elves set out to change his mind.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate. That's basically the synopsis of the whole thing.
Well, I've got some theories on Mrs. Claus. I'm not quite so sure about her, but yeah, we'll get there.
Oh no. Okay. So
Merry Christmas.
So who are some of the actors who played in this special?
Okay, so the voice of Mrs. Claus was provided by Shirley Booth, known for television shows such as Hazel and Touch of Grace, where she played the titular characters in both of those. The voice of Santa Claus was provided by Mickey Rooney, who is a famous actor. He's known for tons of shorts called Mickey, where he plays the character Mickey McGuire that took place in the early 30s. The Mickey Rooney Show, The Red Skeleton Hour, which for the longest time I thought was Skeleton, and then I just assumed it was a He-Man thing. And then Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. I don't know what that is, but it's wonderful and colorful, I guess. It'd be funny if it was still in black and white. The character of Jingle Bells was Bob McFadden, who was also Luno from Luno the White Stallion, Commander Stargazer in Silverhawks, and Snarf from the Thundercats. Snarf, snarf.
Nice.
Yeah. The most annoying Thundercat. Jangle Bells was voiced by Bradley Bulk. He was in the new Casper cartoon show. He was also the voice of Chumley the Walrus from Tennessee Tuxedo, if anyone knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was a penguin and a walrus.
Mm-hmm.
And then this movie was his very last credit in IMDb. But not because he died. I think he's still alive for some reason, but yeah, he just stopped, I guess. The character of the Snow Miser was Dick Shawn, and he is known for being in TV shows such as The Love Boat, Hail to the Chief, and The Twilight Zone. The Heat Miser was voiced by George Irving, who was in King Leonardo and his Short Subjects. Don't know what that is, but he was also the narrator for Underdog, another old cartoon, if anyone remembers Underdog, kind of in the same vein of Tennessee Tuxedo. And then finally, my last person here, Ignatius Iggy Thistlewhite, was voiced by Colin Duffy. The only other thing he's done other than this movie is a movie called The Land of Hope. So he, Colin very successfully did barely anything else. So congratulations. Merry Christmas.
So for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Santa Claus cereal, the painting hanging in Santa Claus's bedroom is the same one that is put up in the town hall at the end of Santa Claus is Coming to Town from 1970. This is the second Rankin Bass Christmas special where Mickey Rooney voiced Santa, the first being Santa Claus is Coming to Town. During the Snow Right Here in Dixie song, a character can be seen that resembles Charlie Chaplin. So that's pretty cool.
I did notice that, yeah, and I was thinking that. I was like, holy crap.
Nice. And a 90-minute 2006 live-action remake of the Rankin Bass classic Year Without a Santa Claus premiered on NBC in December of 2006. So
why?
I don't know. I'd never seen it. I didn't know it existed. And then here's another one I didn't know existed. A Miser's Brother Christmas, which is a 2008 sort of sequel to this, which was also stop-motion animation like the original as well. And I've never seen that. Didn't know it existed. I'd never heard of it.
Again, why?
Yeah, it might be good though if it's using the same stop motion animation. Could be cool. Actually, what I do know about it is that Mickey Rooney did reprise the role of Santa at the age of 88.
Does Mickey Rooney really eat live rats? I've heard this.
I'm just going to assume yes.
I think that was a Family Guy thing. It's like he's gone so senile he just screams at cats or rats or something and tries to eat them. I don't know. But if I was him, that's what I would be doing. I can tell you that much.
You should just start now. Prepare for your old age. Start eating live rats.
Well, I'm working on it. Like, it's part of my retirement plan. I was looking into that this morning.
Yeah.
So.
Eat live rats. Yep. Check.
Eating a live rat.
Did you ever even hear of this before? Like, I know you had never seen it, but had you heard of it before I mentioned it?
No, not really. I mean, I guess like I had seen images of some of the puppets of like the two misers before, but I never knew like what they were called or what they were. And in fact, I didn't know what a miser even was until actually a few weeks ago. I was watching a local Christmas parade in November because it gets too cold to have parades here when December hits. And like some band or I don't know, some group of people were dressed up kind of like the Heat Miser. And I was like, what the heck is this? And my girlfriend's like, they're the heat miser. And I'm like, what the hell is a heat miser? And then she explained, and I'm like, that's not a thing. And then turns out it's a thing.
Oh, so she's heard of it before? She's seen it?
Oh, yeah. Like she knew when I told her what we were doing for Christmas, she knew exactly what this was about. And I had no idea.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But I got to say, like, I don't know, man. I don't like this Mickey Rooney. I'm sorry, buddy. But I like the Santa Claus from Rudolph better. In fact, I like everything from Rudolph better. But yeah, we'll talk. We'll
okay.
We'll get it going.
All right. So yeah, I mean, this is one I had watched as a kid, and I've seen it not every year since, but I know I have. I own it on DVD and stuff, and it actually came out on Blu-ray, I think in 2010. I don't have that copy of it, but it was the first Rankin Bass to come out on Blu-ray. I know that much. But yeah, I have fond memories of it, and it's one that I hold pretty close, right up there with Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman, and probably even Charlie Brown Christmas. I think those are the ones that I remember watching most around this time of year.
I gotta say, like, sometimes I like having everything in the newest technology. Like, I like having things in Blu-ray, but sometimes I gotta wonder, especially something like this, if things start really looking like garbage when you get them on Blu-ray, because you're kind of seeing things a little more clear, and that means for something like this you'd be seeing the faults a lot more clear. So like, I just kind of wonder if every once in a while you see some strings or like a stitch here or there or what. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they really covered their bases when they filmed this, but feel like eventually we're gonna get to that point where like the picture's so sharp you see like every possible problem in everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what HD has done for us. It's for better or for worse.
It's true. That's why like all CG movies look awful now.
So let's just go ahead and start talking about this. It sounds like you have some issues with it, and I'm curious to hear what they are. It's, for me, it's one of those, it's like I look at it with rose-tinted glasses just because it's special to me, and I remember watching it as a kid so many times. So I'm sure it's with flaws, but in my mind and in my heart, it's flawless. So tell me what you didn't like about it.
There wasn't like a whole lot I would say I didn't like. I do have a theory that Mrs. Claus was slowly poisoning Santa over a long period of time so she could steal the limelight, but that didn't play out the way I thought it would.
Thankfully.
Who would have thought that, she wouldn't take the opportunity when she finally seized it, but
So this is this isn't claymation, by the way. This is like animagic is what they called it, but it's basically just
what is that?
It's puppetry. So stop motion puppetry as opposed to claymation like Gumby and things of that ilk.
Animagic?
Yeah, that's what they were referring to. If you watch this on, what I watched it on was Amazon Prime. It's airing on there. And it was like, this is only a 51-minute special, but it was like an hour and 20 minutes. So I was like, what is the rest of it? Like, what did they add? And so at the very end of it, it shows you like a behind the scenes thing and all kinds of stuff, cool, talking about Rankin Bass and things like that. So I learned a little bit of extra stuff about it just from watching that special.
I gotta say, Rankin Bass just reminds me of those fish, like those fake fish you could buy and you would get as a gag for a Christmas present, and it would have a Santa hat on and it would sing.
The ones that sing, yeah.
Yeah. Every time you say Rankin Bass, that's what I think of.
Rankin Bass, yeah.
Yeah. And like, because maybe it was a real bass at one point and they just stuffed it full of like electronics and gears and it started smelling pretty rank, and that's why it's Rankin Bass.
It's Rankin Bass, yeah.
Rankin Bass, yeah.
So just you got the synopsis of this, but basically it starts off with Santa being sick and he's just like, oh, I don't want to do Christmas this year. Like, I don't know if anybody cares anymore. Or, well, it's not even him that thinks that. It's the doctor that comes over. It's a terrible doctor because the doctor's like, nobody cares. Nobody believes in you anymore or whatever. You're sick.
He's the worst doctor. Like, he comes in there being like, he's just being a jerk to Santa, and he's like, oh, you should just, like, you're worthless. I hate you. Yeah, he's got really bad bedside manner, and he did not wash his hands or foam in before, as he entered the room, which I know is a big issue.
But he did have
spread germs,
pointy, curly shoes. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
I think, was he an elf? What was interesting about the elves in this is they didn't have pointy ears. So it's.
No, they didn't. And they were all kind of dumb, like real dumb.
Oh,
Like, I mean, would not have passed the first grade dumb.
well, I don't know if they really attend school. They're kind of just like put into labor the moment they are born. I think elves are born
The North
to
Pole is not above child labor.
no.
No, there's a lot of really suspect things going on up there at that North Pole that they're just really not sanctioned, and someone's really is gonna need to step in at some point and kind of take a look around, maybe establish some sort of labor laws or something up there. It's just not right.
No, I feel like it's its own country, so it kind of makes its own rules.
Yeah, they never like attend the World Summit or anything, so. We never see any elves there, at least. I know that.
Yeah, well, they have to stay hidden. Santa's wanting to just lay in bed, and he doesn't think anybody believes him anymore. And the doctor didn't help with what he was telling him. So you've got Jingle and Jangle Bells, who are, I guess, just the closest elves to him. And Mrs. Claus kind of comes in and tries to like cheer him up, tries to help him out, and then she basically is. Like you were saying, starts to almost take over the role. Like she's saying like anybody could be Santa Claus, and she's dressing up like him and everything. And it didn't pan out. And she sends Jingle Bells, Jangle Bells, and Vixen, the reindeer, who's just a baby reindeer at this point, just out to the real world in order to try to find some kids to express a Christmas spirit to cheer Santa up, basically.
You know what I thought was funny was like Mrs. Claus put on all of Santa's clothes and even put on like a fake beard and stuff and pretty much looked exactly like Santa Claus, but they were like immediately like, oh, Mrs. Claus, you can't pass as Santa. And I'm like, but it looks just like him. Okay, fine.
Well, no, like it was just like, she'd never put on a fake beard. That was just like a...
that was her imagination.
Yeah, that was her imagination.
I see.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she didn't shave for a day.
They go to Southtown, and this is where they meet Iggy, whose name is Ignatius Thistlewhite. Yeah, so Iggy is his nickname. So, well, they meet up with all these kids, and they're just like, we're too old to believe in Santa. It's like, it's okay, like, because Santa, it's like announced everywhere that Santa's taking a break this year, and they're just like, yeah, he deserves it. Like, let him take a break. Like, it's all good. Like, we're too old to believe in Santa, all that. And then Vixen, not being used to weather, because Southtown obviously is in the southern USA, so it's hot and it's not snowing, so she's not used to this weather. So she's getting sick, and then like they have to dress her up as a dog by putting like little brown socks on her over her antlers. She gets taken away by the dog catcher after they tie her to a tree.
I gotta say, like, Vixen's got like the worst life ever, and this just reflects the poor upbringing everyone has in the North Pole. I mean, this baby reindeer, I mean, when Santa goes out on his sleigh or whatever, there's usually a whole team of reindeer. This baby reindeer, a baby one, has to carry two elves all the way from the North Pole to Southtown. When they get there, it's too hot. They put their dirty socks on its head to pretend it's a dog. They tie it to a tree. It gets taken by the dog catcher. This reindeer's life just sucks.
Yeah. I don't know why like Mrs. Claus sent Vixen with them. Why she didn't send like a bigger reindeer?
Like, please take the smallest, least experienced reindeer we have and go.
Yeah, so Santa like gets out of bed after hearing the news that Jingle, Jangle, and Vixen have gone to Southtown. So he's going to stop them from whatever they're up to. He even suspects Mrs. Claus by saying like, whenever you don't seem like you're up to something, you're usually up to something.
See, he knows that she's been poisoning him. She's been just putting a little tiny amount of bleach in his food once a day for the last about 37 years.
I guess it adds up. I would think you would just gain an immunity to it by that time.
No, man, that stuff just it'll slowly get worse and worse.
Oh, well, I'll take your word for it. So, Santa visits Iggy's house and starts talking with his parents. And there are a lot of songs that break out here. And I like all the songs that they had. This one is basically a song about believing in Santa Claus. And then the parents join in and things like that. And so it's a really sweet little song. Iggy's just kind of like, I like his expression. He's just kind of blank stare, like as he watches him. He's like, "Why? How do you all know this song? And was this choreographed? Did you guys plan this?"
Oh my gosh, yeah, like Santa Claus and his parents are all singing the same song, and he's just staring into the abyss.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like,
what is life?
Man. Yeah. Just his mind is, maybe he's really high or something. I don't know. He's kind of just staring into nothingness. And what cracks me up, because I was thinking that same thing while they were doing this. And at the end, once the song ends, you see like a tear go down Iggy's face. And I'm like, it's not even related to the song. It's just, he's just realizing what a bottomless pit his life is going to be. He's just
here's what it is.
Save me.
He's like, Santa Claus, the actual Santa Claus is visiting me right now. This is going to be the highest point of my life. It's just going to go downhill from here. And that was his realization right there.
Yeah.
And that's why the tear came out.
And he cried.
Yeah.
I like to, like, you get like a flashback kind of during the song where it's like, I guess it's supposed to be like Iggy's dad as a kid.
Yeah.
And like you see like Santa Claus is sneaking into the kid's room and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I don't know any story where Santa Claus is sneaking into their bedrooms. Like something went very wrong. And maybe that is also the tear. Like Iggy's realizing what happened to his dad. And he's like, this is going to happen to me.
Oh, I feel like you're twisting this Christmas tale. You've poisoned it for me. You're playing Mrs. Claus.
I have been told multiple times already this year that I'm ruining Christmas.
Oh,
I'm just going to try to continue. Like, I don't want to, go down. I can only go up from here.
I feel like last year you kind of did that for the Grinch Who Stole Christmas as well. I can't remember what you did.
It's because the Who's are cannibals.
That's what it was. Yeah.
They were eating Who hash and they are Who's. So that means they were eating hash made out of each other.
Well, that's like saying the French who eat French fries are cannibals.
No, because they're fries. Don't try to make sense of this.
Okay. Santa picks up Vixen. The Jingle and Jingle and Iggy have spoken to the mayor already, and he's basically saying like, before Santa even comes, like, I'll let her out. I'll let Vixen out of the pound if you can make it snow in Southtown. And thinking it's not going to happen because it never snows in Southtown, which is basically like saying Southtown, I'm assuming, is Texas because it really hardly ever snows here.
For some reason, I kept thinking it was Georgia, and I don't know why that got stuck in my head.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's because like some of them were in fancy hats, and I expect fancy hats in Georgia, but not Texas.
This next part made me laugh, actually, because Mrs. Claus is the narrator of this, and she's saying that Jingle and Jangle suddenly got a brilliant idea, and then their brilliant idea was to go ask Mrs. Claus what to do. So it's her saying like the best idea was just to ask me.
Right. She's got a lot of she's really full of herself, basically.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So they go to, and we had seen them briefly before. We've got the Snow Miser and the Heat Miser, and they're kind of battling. Snow Miser controls the north, Heat Miser controls the south, and then sort of in the middle is where they're clashing. And so we see Jingle, Jangle, and Vixen fly through them as they're going to Southtown. And so her idea, Mrs. Claus' idea, is to go to the Heat Miser and Snow Miser and ask them to agree. Well, basically to go to the Snow Miser, ask him to make it snow in Southtown. But to do that, he has to make a deal with his brother, the Heat Miser. And so it's this whole thing. But these are like the best characters of this film.
And they're also like the ugliest. My God, are they? Oof. Yeesh. Especially like the Snow Miser, just his design, like their designs are cool. They just creep me out a little bit, especially the Snow Miser.
These are the characters that stuck out most to me. And I think this is really why this movie sticks with me or has stuck with me for so long. Specifically these characters, because I remember this movie more than I do Rudolph. And I remember Rudolph had like the Island of Misfit Toys and Yukon Cornelius, bro. And then the Abominable Snowman. But these characters just really stuck out for me.
Yeah, I like the characters a lot. I think they're cool. I do like their designs. They are just ugly and creepy looking, but they do stand out. Like I said earlier, like even though I hadn't seen this movie, I had seen those images before. Like I've seen the designs of both of those two and just never knew what they were.
I actually have pop figures of both of them too.
You would.
And I do.
Well, yeah, Snow Miser's like this taller, lanky, like long-faced, very pale, creep-looking dude with a long nose, and there's like icicles coming off of his nose. And the Heat Miser's kind of the opposite. He's like shorter, fatter, very like flush-faced with like red hair. And is his hair on fire? Is that what's going on?
His hair is fire.
It is fire. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's like us complimenting his hair. Your hair is fire, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. Heat Miser is lit, bro.
Yeah, he's lit. His do is fire.
Yeah. His design is just on fleek. I'm just trying to use as many, as many cool hip terms as I can now, because I'm really fly. I do like that they use the same song, but with different lyrics when they do their introductions. I thought that was cool.
You got the Mr. White Christmas song and then Mr. Green
This is
Christmas.
racist, but still cool. I didn't understand the green part unless he means like because the snow's been melted. Yeah. Like at first I thought it meant like maybe greed or something because I just wasn't thinking about grass.
No, so they sing those songs as they go to them. They both have little minions too who look similar to them. Actually, the Heat Miser's minions remind me of the gremlin from the Twilight Zone episode.
Oh yeah,
on the plane.
I can see that.
Yeah, like totally looks like him. Snow Misers basically just look exactly like him, just smaller versions.
Yes,
Snow Miser. If you could imagine a lot of depictions of what Jack Frost might look like, that's kind of what he reminded me of.
So, can you explain something to me real quick? What the fuck is a miser?
I thought you learned what a miser was the other day.
No, I just I found out like who they are, but I don't know what miser is supposed to mean.
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now, though.
Oh, a person who hoards wealth and spends as little money as possible.
Oh, I think in this case, it wouldn't even be money as much as it would be just greed over their seasons.
Oh, okay. So they're hoarding heat and snow. Is what you're saying.
Basically.
But they want to share it. Like the snow miser would want to. He wants to share that. He wants more snow to happen.
He doesn't. But he doesn't want to share it. He wants to force it on people.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they're basically keeping balance, and we find out after neither of them agree, and they both start arguing. That's when Mrs. Claus cuts in and like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to go over your heads and talk to your mother. And this is what really kind of brings them down, like off their pedestals. And they're just like, no, please don't. And their mother ends up being Mother Nature.
Yeah. And what's funny, like, so they all show up at their place and Mother Nature's, she's very pleasant and nice and stuff like that. And, just treats her two kids, even though they look very adult, treats them like little kids. He's like telling them to be nice and stuff. What's funny, like they are like 3 times her size. They're huge. Like their heads are as big as like her whole body.
Yeah, they're like so submissive to their mom. They're just like, yes, mother dear.
Mother Nature convinces them to do their thing. And it snows in Southtown and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's snowing. And then they're like starting to believe in Santa Claus again and stuff. But then Santa's just like, man, I'm tired because I'm still sick and I had to go save people. So he goes back to the North Pole and he's like, I'm going to take a big old nap. And word gets out that Santa might not do the Christmas thing. So people get like a little girl cries and sends really depressing fan mail to Santa. It's literally a drawing of herself crying. Also, it's disclosed that Santa has gout, which that cracked me up.
Oh, yeah, he does say that.
I don't remember if it was the doctor or one of the elves was like, oh, you have this and this and your gout. But Santa was like, no, I'm going to still do Christmas. And when he wakes up, he sounds so drunk. He's like wakes up and he's kind of mumbling things and stumbling around. Did you see that?
I think he was just tired.
I don't know, man. Like I'm tired and I don't look like that. That's the night. It's when you wake up and you're still drunk from the night before. Like he's had one too many eggnogs or something.
So anyway, the children, they they decide they want to give Santa a Merry Christmas, and they all start in a very sweet way making presents for him and basically declaring it a legal holiday for Santa. And they want to deliver all these presents to him as he's done for them in all the years of their lives. That's just a really sweet turn to the point where it gives Santa hope and faith in Christmas again and lifts his spirits.
Speaking of sweet turns, there's two things I wanted to bring up. One is I like that Jingle is rocking that like clock around his neck, Flava Flav style, which I think really influenced Flava Flav's wardrobe, I think, you know? Probably a huge fan of this movie.
Probably. I'm going to assume yes.
Yeah. And the second thing is that, like, I thought it was interesting how Santa always calls Mrs. Claus Mama. You know, it just kind of refers to him as her as Mama, even though they don't have any kids. So I'm just wondering if that's him trying to be sexy, you know, instead of saying like mommy or something, or like mammy, like hey, Mama. Like, you know, that's kind of what he's doing.
Like pulling an Elvis thing.
Yeah. You know, he's just like, you know, maybe either like I'll get some later or she'll stop poisoning me. And that's his way of trying to go about it.
I feel like none of this is true, but I'm going to let you go on believing that.
Got to get some of that sweet Mrs. Claus love.
So, yeah, Santa, he goes back on his wish to stay in this Christmas. After seeing everything the kids are doing, he's just like, you know, holidays are, you know, I'm not taking a holiday. That's nonsense. Then they start the Here Comes Santa Claus song, and he's delivering all the gifts. And, yeah, it turns into, or it basically completely turns around because of, you know, Santa seeing that he still believed in and people still have the Christmas spirit.
What happened there? Because Santa went from like, you know, he sneaks down chimneys. Like Santa tries to be real stealthy, like a ninja. Like, you know how when he first started out, he was trained, you know, in Japan, the arts of ninjutsu. It's where he donned the red robes for the first time.
Since they commonly go down chimneys.
Yeah. You know, he's got the red kimono thing and, you know, he still wears it and he's a black belt. He wears that out of respect for his roots. But like, why now is he just parading down the street where everyone can see him?
Well, because everybody believes in Santa Claus.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, even if I like up here, I don't see him parading down the streets, but people still end up with presents from Santa under the tree. Where's he at, bro? Wait, never mind. I saw him the other day. He was taking pictures with children at the mall. Okay.
I know they'll have that on Christmas Eve. They'll have that thing on the news that shows his sleigh flying around.
Yeah, that's really stupid. I hate.
Oh,
I hate local news channels.
You have very little Christmas spirit, I see.
Yeah,
I guess I mean, so much so that you even hated on the Grinch.
Me and the Grinch go way back. Well, I like him as a person. I like his work. I just don't like the Who's.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we take away all of our inner kids' presents and tell them Santa isn't coming this Christmas so they can be in the right frame of mind to tell us what they thought of the year without a Santa Claus.
My friend at school this year told me Santa Claus wasn't real and that it was just my parents, but this movie proves he's wrong. Now I don't feel silly writing my note to Santa asking for a Nintendo Switch or a stick of dynamite. I thought this movie was kind of cheesy, but in a fun way. Even though the misers were kind of creeping me out a little bit, but they were still pretty cool. So I gave this 3.5 bowls of Necklace Clock cereal out of 5. And now I'm gonna go tie up my friend with Christmas lights and tape his eyes open so he watches this movie and knows he's wrong. Very wrong. Merry Christmas!
As sad as the thought of Santa not coming to see me this year is, I do agree that I think the guy deserves a break. I love how this special approaches the matter, and the idea that it ultimately was a wonderful kindness of the children all around the world that revitalized his Christmas spirit. Needless to say, I thought the story was great, the characters memorable, the visuals very pleasing, and the musical numbers incredibly sweet. Overall, I'd give The Year Without a Santa Claus 5 big bowls of Yes, Mother Dear cereal out of 5, and recommend you add this one to your holiday playlist. Now I know Mother Nature doesn't like to be bothered, but I wonder if I ask her real nice if she'd turn me into a candy miser. The thought of turning things I didn't like into a pile of sugary sweets by touching it excites me to no end. Goodbye, regular homework. Hello, edible gummy homework. Ah, I'm too much.
Oh no, I sensed that someone was going to break into a song and that someone wasn't going to me, so that it was going to be a bad song.
Yeah, that's why we cut him.
Yeah. So do you have any final thoughts on this movie?
I mean, even rewatching it, and this is one that I try to show everybody who wants to watch a Christmas movie. I still really love it. A lot of it's nostalgia for me, but I do think it's a good movie. And if you look past some of the visual flaws and just some of the weird plot points, I think it's really sweet. And the message is great. So I'd recommend it, especially for kids. Like, they're going to definitely look past the flaws, and I think they can appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a classic Christmas film, even though I never saw it before and I have no idea how that happened. But I mean, it's up there with Rudolph, though I didn't feel it was quite as good. I did love the animation style a lot, but some of the puppets got a little derpy looking. And those misers are kind of creepy, but their looks were so memorable that I understand why people really still enjoy this one. And some of the songs are actually pretty enjoyable and memorable. Like, I'm never going to forget the Two Misers song. That's just going to be in my head all the time. And they could definitely be in a horror film too. Like, I was thinking as we were watching this about how much puppets creep me out. And I'm like, man, there's some puppets in here that are just really like, eeh. Like, they would make a great horror film for sure. So, if people don't like this as a Christmas film, I would love to see someone recut it with a soundtrack and make like a horror film trailer, because I bet that would be really funny.
No, you'll definitely never forget that song. Like, still, like, sometimes randomly, whether it's around Christmas time or not, the tune will just start up in my head, just that dun 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 dun. It'll creep up on you and it'll never leave.
Just like the misers are going to creep up in my nightmares.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly. That would make a great horror movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listeners, it looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Danny Phantom, suggested via Instagram by Sam.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I like the style of that show, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays, all that. We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.